Captain Jake Morrison felt his hands shake as he walked into the giant alien meeting hall. The building was huge, made of some strange crystal that glowed with blue light. He had been to many places in the galaxy, but this place always made him feel small. The Galactic Council Chamber was built to make visitors feel tiny and weak. Jake was not alone. Behind him walked Commander Lisa Brady and Admiral John Carter. The three humans looked very small compared to the hundreds of alien creatures that filled the massive room. Some aliens were as tall as trees, others had wings that sparkled in the light, and some looked like giant lizards with scales that changed colors. The meeting started when a loud sound came from the front of the room. A tall bug-like alien stepped forward. It had big eyes like a fly and wings that were see-through. This was the Zephyrian ambassador, and Jake knew this alien did not like humans at all. "The human race has 30 days to follow our new rules," the bug alien said in a voice that echoed around the room. "You must destroy all your warships. You must tear down all your weapons. You must stop building homes on new planets. You must stay in your own small part of space." Jake felt his heart start beating faster. Lisa looked at him with worry in her eyes. John's face turned red with anger, but he stayed quiet. All around them, alien voices started talking and making strange sounds. Some aliens clicked, some buzzed, and some made deep growling noises. But they all seemed happy about what the bug alien had said. A huge lizard alien walked forward. Its scales were bright red, which Jake knew meant it was very angry or excited. This was a Korathian, one of the strongest alien races in the galaxy. The lizard alien was so big that Jake had to look up to see its face. "Your people are too dangerous," the lizard alien said in a voice like thunder. "You humans fight too much. You build too many weapons. You take over too many planets. We have watched you spread to 17 different star systems in just 200 years. This must stop now." Jake knew this was not fair. Humans had been very careful to follow all the galaxy's rules. They had been polite to other aliens. They had shared their technology and knowledge. They had helped other races when they were in trouble, but the aliens still saw humans as a threat. "What happens if we say no?" Jake asked. His voice was calm, but inside he was very scared. He knew the answer would not be good. The bug alien's big eyes seemed to get brighter. "Then we will force you to obey. The combined fleet will come to your planets. Your people will learn to stay in their place in the galaxy. We will make sure you never cause trouble again." Jake felt sick. The combined fleet was made up of ships from many different alien races. It was the most powerful military force in the galaxy. If they came to fight humans, it would be a war that humanity could not win. At least, that is what the aliens thought. The meeting went on for hours. One by one, different alien leaders stood up to speak. They all said the same thing. Humans were too aggressive. Humans were too dangerous. Humans needed to be controlled. Not one alien voice spoke up for humanity. Jake remembered when humans first made contact with aliens 50 years ago. Back then, humans were excited to meet new friends among the stars. They thought they would learn wonderful things and have great adventures. But the aliens had never seen humans as equals. They saw humans as wild animals that needed to be tamed. The worst part was that humans had been trying so hard to be peaceful. Earth's leaders had told their people to be careful, to not make the aliens angry, to follow all the rules. Human colonies were built far from alien worlds. Human ships carried small weapons, only for protection against space pirates. Human diplomats always spoke softly and tried to make everyone happy. But none of that mattered now. The aliens had decided that humans were too successful, too independent, too strong. They wanted to make sure humans could never challenge their power. When the meeting finally ended, Jake walked out with Lisa and John. They did not speak until they were far away from the alien building. Then John exploded with anger. "This is insane," he shouted. "We have done everything they asked. We have been good neighbors. We have followed their stupid rules. And this is how they repay us." Lisa put her hand on John's arm. "Keep your voice down," she said quietly. "They might be listening." Jake pulled out his special communicator, the kind that could not be heard by alien listening devices. "We need to call Earth right now. The president needs to know what just happened here." As they walked back to their ship, Jake thought about everything he had heard. The aliens wanted to destroy humanity's ability to defend itself. They wanted to trap humans on Earth and a few small colonies. They wanted to make sure humans could never grow strong enough to challenge their control of the galaxy. But Jake knew something the aliens did not know. For 200 years, while humans had been exploring space and building colonies, they had also been preparing for this day. Human leaders had always known that someday the aliens might turn against them. They had made secret plans and built hidden weapons. The aliens thought humans were weak because they had been peaceful. They thought humans would give up without a fight. They were about to learn how wrong they were. Jake looked up at the alien sky full of strange colored stars. Soon, he thought, the aliens would understand what humans were really capable of. They had pushed too far, and now they were going to see what happened when humans stopped being nice. The war was coming, and humanity was ready. 6 months had passed since the aliens gave their terrible order to humanity. Admiral Susan Hayes stood in the command center of Luna Station, a giant space base built on the moon. Around her, bright screens showed where human ships were positioned, all across known space. The aliens had said humans must give up their weapons by now, but that time had come and gone 3 weeks ago. Susan looked at the glowing displays with sharp gray eyes. She had been a soldier for 30 years, and she had never seen Earth prepare for war like this. Every human colony was getting ready. Every human ship was moving to fight positions. The aliens thought they were dealing with a weak species that would give up easily. They were about to learn the truth. "Tell me what we have," Susan said to the room full of officers. Colonel Pete Rodriguez stepped forward. He was Earth's best military planner, a man who could think of ways to win fights. That seemed impossible. All the people who don't fight have been moved away from the border colonies. They are safe now. Our 3 main battle groups are in position at the places where aliens will have to come through to reach us. We have 437 ships ready to fight. Susan nodded. The numbers sounded small, but she knew these were not ordinary ships. For 200 years, while humans had been exploring space, they had also been secretly building the most advanced military force in the galaxy. Commander Amy Foster, who ran Earth's spy network, turned on another display. The alien fleet coming toward us has more than 2,000 ships from 47 different alien species. They think this will be an easy fight. They plan to defeat us quickly and then control our planets. The room became quiet. 2,000 ships against less than 500. Any normal military leader would surrender right now. But Susan smiled instead of looking worried. "What about our secret project?" she asked. Dr. Carl Bennett, the smartest scientist on Earth, looked happy for the first time in months. "The tests worked perfectly. We have figured out how to use quantum mechanics as a weapon. The aliens have shields and armor that can stop energy beams and missiles. But they have never seen anything like what we built." Susan had been one of the few people who knew about Project Prometheus from the beginning. While aliens thought humans were building farms and cities on new worlds, humans were actually building secret weapons labs. The best human scientists had been working on technology that was 50 years ahead of anything the aliens had. "How does it work?" asked Captain Ryan Murphy, who commanded the heavy cruiser Sparta. Dr. Bennett touched his computer screen, and a diagram appeared. Normal weapons have to break through shields and armor to damage a ship. Our weapons skip that step completely. We use quantum entanglement to send particles directly inside the enemy ship. Their shields cannot stop us because we are not actually shooting through them. A young officer raised her hand. What happens to the ships we hit? They fall apart. At the atomic level, Dr. Bennett said simply. The ship just comes apart and turns into space dust. The room was silent as everyone understood what this meant. The aliens were expecting a normal space battle with energy weapons and missiles. Instead, they would face something that would destroy their ships instantly. Susan looked around the room at all the officers. These were the best and brightest humans, people who had trained their whole lives for this moment. Listen carefully. For 200 years, humanity has played by the galaxy's rules. We have been polite. We have been careful. We have tried not to make anyone angry. The aliens thought this meant we were weak. They thought we could not fight. Back, she paused and looked at each face. They were wrong. We were not weak. We were getting ready. Every colony we built had hidden weapons. Every trade ship had secret sensors. Every diplomat was also a spy. We have been preparing for this. Days since we first met the aliens. Captain Murphy asked the question everyone was thinking. What are our orders when the fighting starts? Susan's face became hard as steel. The aliens declared war on us when they sent their ultimatum. They want to destroy our way of life. They want to make us slaves. Our job is to protect human space and human lives. We will show the galaxy that humans are not the weak species they thought we were. She walked to the big window that looked out at space. In the distance, she could see Earth, the blue and green planet where humanity had been born. Beyond that were the 17 star systems where humans had built new homes. All of it was in danger now. The aliens made a mistake, Susan continued. They thought because we chose to be peaceful, we did not know how to fight. They thought because we followed their rules, we could not break them. They thought because we were new to space, we were not as smart as they were. Susan turned back to face the room. In a few days, alien ships will enter human space. They will expect us to surrender or run away. Instead, they will find out what 200 years of human preparation looks like. They will discover that there is a big difference between a species that chooses peace and a species that cannot fight. The officers in the room stood up straighter. They had all known this day would come. Their parents and grandparents had built the colonies and trained the soldiers for this moment. Now it was time to show the galaxy what humans could really do. Remember, Susan said as the meeting ended, we did not start this fight, but we are going to finish it. The aliens pushed too far. Now they will learn what happens when humanity stops holding back. As the officers left to prepare their ships, Susan looked out at the stars again. Soon, the galaxy would see a side of humanity that had been hidden for 2 centuries. The aliens wanted a war. They were about to get one. The first battle happened at a place called Kepler 442, where humans had built a farming colony on a planet they named New Eden. The planet was beautiful, with green fields and blue skies that reminded people of Earth. Families had been growing food there for 20 years, sending crops to other human worlds. But now the farmers were gone. They had been moved to safety weeks ago, when the alien fleet was spotted coming toward human space. Instead of peaceful farmers, the aliens would find something very different waiting for them. Admiral Tony Richards stood on the bridge of his battleship, the Odyssey. Through the big windows, he could see 67 human ships arranged in a pattern that looked like a flower blooming in space. Each ship was in exactly the right position for what was about to happen. Tony had been fighting space pirates and protecting human colonies for 15 years. He was known for being calm during battles and smart about tactics. Today, he would need both of those qualities more than ever. "Admiral, the alien fleet is coming out of hyperspace," reported Lieutenant Kelly James from her position at the sensor station. Tony watched as hundreds of alien ships appeared in the space around New Eden. The ships were huge and covered with weapons. They looked like metal monsters with glowing eyes and sharp teeth. At the front of the alien fleet was the biggest ship Tony had ever seen. It was called the Dominion, and it belonged to the Zephyrian Empire. "Count them," Tony ordered. 843 ships, sir," Kelly replied. "They have us outnumbered more than 12 to 1. Tony smiled. The aliens were thinking like the old days, when having more ships meant you would win the battle. They did not understand that humans had changed the rules of space warfare. A voice came over the radio from the alien flagship. It was Supreme. General Vexver, the Zephyrian commander who had destroyed 6 different species in the past 50 years. "Primitive humans, your resistance is pointless. You cannot win against the combined fleet. Surrender now, and we will kill you quickly, instead of slowly." Tony picked up his microphone. "This is Admiral Richards of the Terran Defense Force. You are in human space without permission. Turn around and go home, or face the consequences." The alien general laughed, a sound like breaking glass. "You think your tiny fleet can defeat us? We have crushed civilizations older and stronger than yours. Prepare to die, human." "You first," Tony replied calmly. The battle began exactly as Tony had expected. The alien ships formed into a big line and started firing every weapon they had. Bright energy beams and missiles filled the space between the two fleets. The attack was so powerful that it lit up the darkness of space like a small sun. The human ships took the punishment without firing back. Their shields glowed and sparked as they absorbed the alien weapons. Some of the shields began to weaken, but they held. The human ships had been built to survive exactly this kind of attack. "Sir, our shields are down to 60%, reported Commander Gary Miller from the damage control station. "Perfect," Tony said. "Now show them what human technology can." Really do. The human ships did something the aliens had never seen before. Instead of firing energy weapons or missiles, they activated devices that looked like small metal balls. The balls floated away from the human ships and then simply disappeared. For a moment, nothing happened. The aliens kept firing, thinking the human weapons had failed. Then the first alien cruiser began to shake. "What is happening?" General Vexver screamed over the radio. The alien cruiser started to come apart. Not from an explosion, but like it was dissolving. The metal hull began to break down into tiny pieces. The ship's weapons stopped working. The lights went out. Within 30 seconds, the entire ship had turned into a cloud of dust, floating in space. Then it happened to another alien ship, and another, and another. Impossible. The alien general shouted. "What kind of weapon is this?" Tony's voice was cold and hard. "This is what you get when you threaten a species that has been preparing for war for 200 years. This is what you get when you try to destroy our families and our homes." The human weapons worked by using quantum entanglement to send particles directly inside the alien ships. The particles broke apart the atomic bonds that held the ships together. No shield or armor could stop them because they did not travel through normal space. Dr. Carl Bennett had called it the most elegant weapon ever created. It did not cause explosions or fires. It simply made enemy ships stop existing. In the first 5 minutes of the battle, the human fleet destroyed 50 alien ships. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Their most powerful warships were turning into space dust faster than they could count. "Retreat," General Vexver ordered. "All ships retreat immediately." But Tony was not finished. "You came here to destroy us," he said over the radio. "You came here to make us surrender. Now you want to run away when the fight is not as easy as you thought." The human ships moved forward, chasing the fleeing aliens. Every few seconds, another alien ship would dissolve into nothing. The aliens who had been so confident about their victory were now running in panic. "Please," the alien general begged, "we surrender. Stop your attack." Tony thought about all the human colonies the aliens had threatened. He thought about the families who had been forced to leave their homes. He thought about the ultimatum the aliens had given, demanding that humans give up their right to defend themselves. "You had your chance to surrender," Tony replied. "You chose war instead." The battle lasted 30 minutes. When it was over, 327 alien ships had been destroyed. The rest of the alien fleet was running away. As fast as their engines could carry them, the human fleet had not lost a single ship. Tony looked out at the debris field where the alien fleet had been. Space was filled with the dust of what had once been the most feared military force in the galaxy. The aliens had learned their first lesson about what happened when they pushed humanity too far. "Send a message to Earth," Tony ordered. "Tell them the first battle is over. Tell them we won." But Tony knew this was just the beginning. The aliens would be back with more ships and better plans. The real war was just getting started, and humanity was ready for it. The news from the battle at Kepler 442 hit the Galactic Council like a lightning bolt. The aliens had been sure their massive fleet would crush the humans easily. Instead, they had watched 300 of their best warships turn into space. Dust in just 30 minutes. The council met in emergency session aboard their huge space station called Concordia Prime. The station was the size of a small moon and had been the center of alien power for over 3,000 years. Now, for the first time in all those years, the council members were afraid. Emperor Vexthil of the Corinthian Empire was so angry that his scales had turned bright red. He slammed his massive fist on the council table, making the whole room shake. "This cannot be real." "Our spy reports said the humans only had simple weapons and slow ships." The Zephyrian ambassador's wings were shaking with fear. "The humans have been lying to us for 200 years. They made us think they were weak and peaceful, but they were really preparing for war the whole time." While the aliens were panicking, Admiral Susan Hayes was putting her own plan into action. The alien retreat had given human forces time to move their ships to new positions. Now it was time for the aliens to learn what it felt like to be attacked in their own sims. Captain Holly Chung was in command of a special human ship called the Nightfall. It was a stealth destroyer that could move through space without being detected by alien sensors. Holly had been chosen for this mission because she was the best pilot in the human fleet and could think quickly when things went wrong. "Holly, are you in position?" Admiral Hayes asked through their special quantum communication system. "Yes, Admiral," Holly replied as she looked at the alien homeworld of Zephyr Prime through her ship's cameras. "I cannot believe what I am seeing." Here, the Zephyrian homeworld was one of the most important planets in the galaxy. It was where the bug-like aliens had built their greatest cities and their most advanced technology. But right now, it was almost completely undefended. "They moved almost their entire fleet to attack us," Holly continued. "There are only a few old ships left to protect their whole planet." Admiral Hayes smiled when she heard this news. "Then, it is time they learned what happens when you leave your home unprotected. All human fleets begin Operation Payback." All across the galaxy, human ships began appearing in alien star systems. The aliens had never seen anything like it. Human vessels materialized near alien homeworlds, military bases, and important colonies. The humans were not there to destroy cities or kill civilians. They had come to send a message The first target was the Korathian Military Command Center. On their homeworld, General Alex Stone led a team of human Marines as they landed on the planet's surface. Alex was a big man with scars on his face from fighting space pirates. He had trained his whole life for battles like this. "Remember the plan," Alex told his soldiers as they prepared to attack the alien base. "We take out their military computers and communication systems. We do not hurt anyone who does not fight us. We want them to understand our power, not fear our cruelty." The human Marines moved through the alien base like ghosts. They had equipment that made them invisible to alien sensors. They had weapons that could put aliens to sleep without killing them. Within 2 hours, they had captured the entire base without firing a single deadly shot. "The Council wanted to teach us our place in the galaxy," Alex said into his radio as. His soldiers secured the facility. Time to show them what their place really is. The same thing was happening on dozens of alien worlds. Human ships appeared, disabled the military defenses, and then left behind special devices called quantum beacons. These beacons were small but very powerful. They could instantly bring human fleets to any location in the galaxy. Captain Dan Foster was leading the attack on the Altarian weapons factory. The Altarians were a peaceful species that had been forced to build weapons for the Galactic Council. "We are not here to hurt you," Anne announced to the alien workers. "We are here to free you from the Council's control." The human attacks were perfectly coordinated. Every target was hit at exactly the same time. The aliens had no time to warn each other or prepare defenses. In just 72 hours, humans had struck at 50 different alien worlds. But the most important attack was happening at the Galactic Council's own space station. Captain Mike Torres commanded a squadron of human fighters as they approached Concordia Prime. The station's defenses were the strongest in the galaxy, but they were designed to stop old-fashioned weapons. "This is Captain Torres of the Terran Defense Force," Mike announced as his ships surrounded the station. "We are not here to destroy you. We are here to prove a point." The human ships fired their quantum weapons at the station's defensive systems. One by one, the massive weapon platforms that protected the station simply vanished. The aliens inside the station watched in horror as their greatest fortress became helpless in minutes. "Please stop," the Zephyrian ambassador begged over the radio. "We surrender. We will negotiate." Admiral Haz's voice came through the communication system, cold and clear. "You had your chance to negotiate. You chose to threaten us instead. Now you will learn what it means to be powerless." The human ships did not destroy the station. Instead, they left behind quantum beacons and then disappeared. The message was clear. Humans could strike anywhere in the galaxy whenever they wanted. The aliens' numerical advantage meant nothing against human technology and tactics. As news of the attack spread, something amazing happened. Dozens of smaller alien species that had been controlled by the Galactic Council began to rebel. They had been waiting for someone strong enough to challenge the Council's power. Now they had found their champions. The Vegan Trade Federation declared independence from the Council. The Centauri Mining Guild refused to send resources to Council worlds. The Sirius Medical Collective offered to help any species that wanted to break free from Council control. Within a week, the galaxy had changed completely. The Council that had ruled for 3,000 years was falling apart. The humans who had been dismissed as primitive newcomers were now the strongest military force anyone had ever seen. The aliens had pushed too far, and now they were learning what happened when you made an enemy of humanity. 3 months after Operation Payback, the Galactic Council chamber looked very different from before. The huge room that had once been filled with the proud voices of powerful aliens was now quiet and tense. Many of the seats were empty because Dozens of alien species had left the Council to join with humanity. Admiral Susan Hayes stood in the same spot where Captain Jake Morrison had been humiliated months earlier. But this time, Susan was not alone, and she was not begging for mercy. Behind her stood representatives from 12 different alien species that had broken away from the Council to form new partnerships with humanity. The aliens who remained in the Council looked scared and defeated. Their scales were dull colors. Their wings drooped, and their voices were quiet. The galaxy had changed, and they were no longer in control. "The old way of doing things is finished," Susan announced in a strong, clear voice. "The time when the Galactic Council could force other species to obey is over." The Zephyrian ambassador tried to sound important, but his wings were shaking. "The Council has kept peace in the galaxy for 3,000 years. Your attacks have made everything unstable and dangerous." Admiral Lisa Brady, who had been promoted after the Great Victory, stepped forward. "Your peace was built on fear and bullying. You kept control by threatening to destroy anyone who disagreed with you. When humanity refused to be scared, you chose to start a war." The room filled with nervous sounds as aliens whispered to each other in their own languages. Many of them were starting to understand that the humans were right. The Council had ruled through fear, not respect. Emperor Vexthol of the Korathians spoke for the first time since the car attack. His scales were gray, which meant he was admitting defeat. "What do you want from us, humans?" Susan smiled, but it was not a cruel smile. "We want what every intelligent species deserves. The right to exist freely. The right to explore space and build new homes. The right to defend ourselves. The right to make our own choices about how we live." Admiral John Carter, who was now Earth's main representative to the galaxy, turned on a big display screen. It showed a map of the galaxy with different colors marking which species were independent and which were still under Council control. "The Terran Federation will protect the independence of any species that chooses to leave the Council," John explained. "We will also help defend any species that faces extinction or slavery." The chamber erupted in excited talking as alien representatives realized they now had choices they had never been allowed to make before. Some aliens looked hopeful for the first time in centuries. Others looked terrified because they had been part of the Council's bullying for so long. Dr. Carl Bennett, who was now in charge of Earth's relationships with other species, addressed the room. "Humanity spent 200 years learning from every species we met. We studied your science, your culture, your history. We took the best ideas from all of you while avoiding your worst mistakes. The Council's error was thinking we were weak just because we chose to be peaceful." In the weeks that followed, the galaxy transformed in ways no one had thought possible. 43 different species left the Council to join the Terran Federation. 27 others formed their own independent governments. The Council's authority crumbled as species after species chose freedom over control. The humans did not try to become the new rulers of the galaxy. Instead, they helped create something that had never existed before, a galaxy where every species could make its own decisions about how to live. The Vegan Trade Federation, which had been forced to give most of their profits to the Council, became wealthy again when they were allowed to trade freely. The Centauri Mining Guild started sharing their resources with smaller species, instead of being forced to give everything to the Council. The Sirius Medical Collective began offering free health care to any species that needed help. Admiral Hayes stood on the observation deck of Humanity Station, a massive new space base that served as headquarters for the Galactic Freedom Alliance. Through the windows, she could see ships from over 100 different species docking at the station. Aliens who had been enemies for thousands of years were now working together as friends. "Do you think they learned their lesson?" Admiral Brady asked as she joined. Hayes at the window. Hayes watched a group of young aliens from different species working together to plan a mission to help refugees from worlds still under Council control. They pushed humanity too far and discovered what happens when we stop holding back. But more importantly, they learned that being strong does not give you the right to hurt others. Captain Jake Morrison, who had been promoted to admiral after his brave work as a diplomat, joined them at the window. The Council ruled through fear for 3,000 years. They thought it was the only way to keep peace. Now they are seeing what real peace looks like. The three humans watched as former enemies shook hands, signed agreements, and made plans for a better future. Species that had been slaves for centuries were now free to explore space and build their own civilizations. The best part, Hayes said with a smile, is that we did not have to become like them to defeat them. We showed the galaxy that strength can be used to protect the weak instead of controlling them. Admiral Brady nodded. The aliens wanted us to learn our place in the galaxy. Instead, we taught them that no one has the right to decide another species' place. Outside the station, ships from dozens of different worlds were departing on missions to spread freedom throughout the galaxy. Some were carrying supplies to newly independent colonies. Others were negotiating with species still under Council control. A few were exploring parts of space that had been forbidden by the old Council. The galaxy would never be the same. The age of the Galactic Council's tyranny was over. The age of freedom had begun, and humanity had shown everyone that sometimes you have to fight to protect peace. The Council had pushed too far, and now they were living in a galaxy where bullies no longer made the rules. Humanity had stopped pulling punches, and the entire galaxy was better for it.